Good morning, everyone. It is the first of the month, Pinch Punch, and welcome to the Platform API show and tell on the 1st of September. So at our last show and tell, we covered quite a bit of ground again. We discussed the Resident Information Platform API, the Authorization API, the Contact Details API post endpoint, the Housing API pagination, and integrations and testing, and I did all that on one breath, which is good. But of course, what have we done lately? That's why you're all here. One of the most important things that we've done is that a lot of the team have taken some time off. And from a delivery manager perspective, for me, this is really important because a rested team is a happy team, is a productive team. And so although things have slowed down in the last couple of weeks, I make no excuse for it because we want people to be rested. We want people to use their time off, especially after the last couple of months, which, I'm sure everybody will agree, have been really intense. But that doesn't mean that we still haven't done some really good work. I'll hand over to Emma to start off.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm gonna talk about some of the things we've been doing over the last couple of weeks. So we talked before about making a tenancy API, but like in our initial plans, we didn't realize that we were going to need a list endpoint. So it previously just made an API that would retrieve a single tenancy's details. However, after having some conversations with manager tenancy, we realized that they had a use case that would need to search the tenancies by address. So we quickly changed some of our plans, like for last sprint, and started working on updating the previous Swagger document to include that, and then have been building and testing this endpoint. We designed it with manager tenancy in mind, but made sure we stuck to the general API principles that we've been following for the whole project. So this endpoint will be able to query all the tenancies by address and postcode, and there will also be a flag to get just leasehold agreements or freehold agreements if you need. And then we've been doing lots of testing of some of the APIs we've built previously. So we've been focusing on cautionary alerts. For cautionary alerts, you can retrieve alerts against either a person or a property. And then also the tenancy endpoints, so the one I just mentioned, and the one to retrieve a single record. So we picked these ones because both of them are going to be used by in single view by manager tenancy. So it made sense to get them ready for when they needed them. And then so they're all working now and in production. And for the cautionary alerts to help manage a tenancy use the API, we've started work on linking it up with single view. So when they come to need it, it will just be ready to go. I think I just pass on to Chris now to talk about how this is going to help manage a tenancy.
Hi all. I'm Chris. I'm a dev on the manager tenancy team. Just a quick overview of what we're doing over there. We're currently trying to replace an old OutSystem service, which is being retired towards the end of the month. So time is kind of quite a big factor in our dev work. A lot of our data at the moment is coming from a really old CRM database, which is really weirdly structured and takes really complex XML queries rather than proper API requests. So kind of hitting these new API endpoints for tenancies and cautionary alerts. It genuinely saves us quite a lot of time in terms of building out those requests. The XML queries that we have to use currently, they're quite long and error prone, and the error responses we do get from CRM are generally not particularly helpful. So having that actual real API endpoint that's going to give us a reasonably shaped response, data in the right kind of format, and actual sensible error responses as well, that reduces our dev time massively. And as I mentioned, dev time is kind of a big thing at the moment.
Chris, thank you very much for joining us today and for discussing the benefit that this project is bringing to other projects in the council. Really appreciate it. I'll hand over now to Bucky to talk about the other stuff that we've been up to in the last 2 weeks.
Thanks. Hello. So we've created a contacts post endpoint. we can call a post endpoint in the resident contact API to create new contact records for a resident. The body of the request will contain a JSON formatted object, which has the new contact information, which includes flags that indicate the record type, i.e. mobile, email, also an ID identifying the resident, and some other flags indicating if the record is active or the default contact for the resident. The post endpoint will be added to the high-level and modular resident information API, which contains all the other, some other platform APIs also. We're now developing a data migration script to copy contact information from existing sources such as CRM, as mentioned previously. This would make the contact API the primary source of resident contact records. And once the script is deployed, we can test the endpoints to make sure they're all functional. So the Authorizer API, mentioned this in our previous show and told also how the API functions with the get endpoint to generate a token. So we also have a Lambda Authorizer function, which is working in conjunction with the token generation. The token generation accepts a post request with a JSON object in the body. This generates the JWT token used to authenticate a user. So access is granted to an API based on the JSON object properties passed in the post request. And then a request with a valid token allows access to an API. A request with an invalid token will be denied access. The authorizer will be configured for each of the platform APIs via the AWS API gateway. The authorizer is working currently and configured and tested with the resident vulnerabilities API. So calls to the resident vulnerabilities API currently require a valid token. Thank you.
Thanks, Bucky. So that is a very quick overview of what we've been up to. Does anyone have any questions for us? Deathly silence. It's always deathly silence when it gets to this point. I'm sure somebody must have a question. If there are no questions, we can end the show and tell early. As ever, if something occurs to you after the show and tell, please don't hesitate to drop one of us an email or post a message in the API discussion channel in Slack. We're always very happy to discuss our work. We will be back in 2 weeks at the same time. So unless there's anything last minute burning, thank you very much for your time and see you in a couple of weeks. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Devon.
Thank you.
Aaron.
All right.
Thanks all. Bye.